and welcome to Feature Fridays. My name is Guy Bartram. I'm the Director of Product Marketing for our cloud providers at VMware, and joined by quite a crew today. So we've got Jay, welcome back. Jorg, welcome again. Long time, Jorg, since we've seen you. And Ivo. So let's just do a quick round of introductions. Jay, why don't you go first?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Jay, and I'm a Senior Technical Product Marketing Manager with the Cloud Marketing team, and I mainly handle the VCD and the CDS marketing items.
Thanks, Jay. Jorg?
Yeah, glad to be back. I'm a Technical Product Manager in the Cloud Provider team at VMware.
Thanks, Jorg. And Ivo, welcome.
I'm glad to be for the first time here. My name is Ivo. UI engineer working on the vCloud Director.
Excellent. That's what we're here to talk about today. So 10.4.1 has just been released. It's got a number of cool updates in there, but UI theming and branding and customization is a definite plus for our cloud providers who want to make their service feel, like their solution, like their branded portfolio. And Jorg, take us through kind of perhaps some of the history about where this has come from, because I know we had some UI theming and customization way back when we started the Feature Friday series, right?
Yeah, so that was, I think, one of the first 10, somewhere in the first 10 that we did about the old API-based branding and theming. And I think it's one of the most powerful features, not from a technical, deep, complex thing, but it's just so visible when you change the look and feel of the provider and the tenant portal. And that allows you, to create a lot of stickiness with your customers. It gets your branding message out. It helps your own operating teams to, identify with it. And it also, of course, helps since it's so visible, helps the customer to remember your name, your branding, and so on. And in past, we had some API-based version of that, and now with 10.4.1, we get a really nice and easy-to-use integration directly into the UI. So, Ivo, can you tell us a bit about the history, just a few sentences about the different versions that we had of these theming in past?
So as Jorg mentioned, it's quite important for the customers to have this theming, and that's why when it was introduced, it was only API-based. And we used one theme generator, which was a little bit complicated, and it generated too much of a CSS selectors code like this, really too big. This is the very first bare minimum, which did the job. But then we realized and we introduced using some CSS variables. So this theme generator was not needed anymore. But again, it was only API. It was not quite clear how to use this API. And now with this maybe third improvement, the biggest one, the newest, we have this UI when you can really get and see what you have done really on the system. And you use really very minimum of those CSS variables to change the color. So even when you're upgrading to a new version, it should be much more seamless than before.
In addition to that, since it's not longer API only, it also allows, it's much less effort to get started, to change colors and change some parts of the look and feel, upload a logo. So you don't need to look into all the API backgrounds that you have to do, like how to authenticate, use a REST client, figure out how to upload files through a REST client, and so on. That's now all very accessible through the UI, and that helps because that means that also people with not that much API and developer background can make these settings and make these adjustments.
And even for these guys, it's good that you have it at one place, just see what is the bare minimum and what is required. You shouldn't go through all the APIs and figure it out what is for what.
Yeah, I like this because I know the old API version, there was a few providers that I know of who actually did the work and created their own kind of enterprise portal based on the theming capabilities that are around them. So this is going to really bring this to the masses, isn't it? It's going to basically say, you don't need to be a developer anymore. You can very easily make Cloud Director look and feel like your brand and your company portal for your customers. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, York, you had a few slides you wanted to walk through. Should we dive into those?
I don't have.
Oh,
No
you don't
slides.
have.
No, we
Okay.
just talked about it. So I guess let's jump into the demo to see it.
All right, let's jump into the demo then.
Sure. Let me quickly share my screen.
And before you go into too far into the demo, what's the kind of the upgrade path from older versions of ECD to 10.4.1? Because I know this is going to be a highly demanded feature, but for the cloud providers who are running on slightly older versions, Jay, what's the kind of the upgrade path recommendations?
So basically for 10.4.1, right, we do recommend absolutely from 9.7 to 10.4.1, but with stages. So literally from 9.7, anyone can upgrade themselves to 10.4.1. With like, let's say, for example, if you're 9.7, for example, you'd have to first go to 10.0, then 10.2, and then 10.4.1. So there's a path you have to follow. So basically from any version from 9.7, you can come up to 10.4.1 supported.
Okay, great. Thanks, Jay.
Right. All right, so let me demonstrate this super cool feature and one of my favorite, which is branding and theming. And thanks to Ivo and team for making it so easy. It's so nice for our customers. So to begin with, this is the login page of the provider portal. And if I log in as a system administrator, this branding and theming feature is introduced in the form of a feature flag, wherein you have to first enable the feature flag to be able to see the theming option from the UI portal. So what we'll do is first, let's look at the feature flag for this branding and theming feature. And then we will dive into how to create the theme and how to edit the theme and all the other options we have available. All right. So once you have logged into the provider portal, you have to navigate to the administration section, and then you have to look into the feature flag section and make sure that you have enabled the branding API. For the lab purpose, demonstration purpose, I have already enabled it. It's a simple toggle button which you have to click to enable the branding API feature. Once you have this enabled, you have to navigate to the custom portal section, and then you would see this tab called themes. Now, by default, we ship two default themes with the product. One is the base dark theme and one is the base light theme. And by default, the base light theme is applied to all the provider portal or tenant portals, which you would create in the future if you do not have any custom theme. Now, this is the demo theme which I have created, but anyway, I will show you from start how to create a new theme and apply that to a tenant portal and then see how the look and feel looks like. So
Jay, before you go on any further, so for providers who are using Cloud Director and delivering infrastructure as a service, self-service to other partners, so kind of a white label service, I assume here this theme can be created for each one of their partners?
Yes, that is possible, guys. So we can create themes for every partner, and the partner in turn can create themes for their respective customers, their facing tenants.
Okay. And something very important here, because while developing this feature, we also talk to customers, and one of the very most highly demanded ask was to be able to really do this self-service, so that a tenant should be able to create and manage their own themes, not the system provider. And now with this new architecture, we are much closer, because technically now we are able to do it. We are just not there yet, but this is highly important. And I mean, work towards this.
So at the moment, then, Eva, the master provider needs to create all the themes for all of their subtenants. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So once we have to create a theme, we click on the create theme section, and then you have two options offered. One is create light-based theme and one is create dark-based theme. Why do we have these two options? It's basically to pick up those base files, and then you can edit upon those base files of the respective theme. All right. So for this lab demo purpose, I will pick up the light-based theme. And once you click the type of theme you want to create, it will take you to the theme creation page, wherein this page is divided into two panes. The left pane is the control panel where you actually do the editing and the configuration. And the right pane is basically the preview pane where you can see in live what all changes you have made and how the look and feel would look like. Okay. First thing is you can give it a name. Let's say, and then you have three subcategories. One is the color option, the branding option, and the links option. So from the color options, like you see, we can change the color of the core portal. So let's say, for example, if I select the header to be, let's say some color, you can select and you can see the live preview of how it would look like. In the same way, you can change the header font, and then you can change the font color, maybe to make it a little darker, and things like that. And also, let's say from the login page perspective, so by default, like I said, it's the light theme which is applied to all the portals. And in case if you want to change the theme for the login portal, this is the font theme. And let's say if you want to have some different color to indicate the error messages. So in this way, you can change the color code for a lot of other sections, like you see here for alerts, cards, stack view, wizards, forms, etc. Right? The good thing is you see the live preview. Now, if you navigate,
can I just jump in one little comments here from our observation and investigation. The header one seems the most important one used for white labeling, and also the header one corresponds to the auth API portal color property. So the portal color endpoint for the auth API is this header here, the header color.
all right.
Got it.
Yeah, from the API.
Yeah. So once you have changed the color as per your tenant theme, you then navigate to the branding section where you have to basically give a platform name. This platform name could be static or it could be dynamic. So let's say hi, and then you can pick up basically the placeholder. In this example, let's say if I give this placeholder over here, so if in case we apply this theme to, let's say, multiple tenants, it will take the tenant name automatically and say hi tenant 1, hi tenant 2 in that way.
Oh, nice. That's really nice. I like that.
And same thing will also apply to the provider portal. And if in case we apply the same theme to the provider portal, it will say hi system. So that's a very nice thing, which is kind of available with this UI portal for the branding. And then once you have the platform name decided, you have the options to upload three basically logo icon and the background image. So let's say for a platform logo perspective, I will select let's say I pick up this image, and it'll show you how the image would look like. And this is the image, or rather the icon for the browser favorite icon. Only for this particular section, you would not see the live preview because this is from the browser perspective. But once you apply the theme and then refresh the browser, you would see this icon in the browser tab over here. And then the login background, select any image as per your tenant's theme or branding, and then you can apply that. So this is the branding I have applied for this theme. And then if I navigate
here on the branding, one of the new features is this login background. It was not available in the previous API versions. You should do some CSS hacks and tricks. So this is something new. And the dynamic platform name is also something new, and it came directly from customers, because this feature was not just developed and we ship it, but during the development we contact customers through Slack and had some demos. So this was a feedback from them, and thanks to them, it is there.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, Ivo, question for you. Can you use custom fonts in this theming?
Not really. I mean, if you use it, if you modify your own CSS, but not from this API directly from this UI.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, for the login screen, and well, don't forget that puff icon. That's it seems to be a small thing, but this thing, since it shows up in the browser tab, it also shows up usually in the operating system, like the quick view when you switch with tab through the different windows that you have open, and it shows like in bookmarks. Usually from the browser, when you a customer or a tenant user bookmarks like the link to their organization, it will show up. So that is it is a small icon and a small thing, but it shows up in so many different places that is really like a great reminder of the branding.
Correct.
And this is what I also meant that when I said that now you see what is required, because this is the very minimum for creating a theme and branding. To put those 3 images, you just see what is required directly from this UI.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so after you have selected the logo and the background, you have the options to either add new links or override some existing links. For example, if you want to override any of the existing link which is available, when I say override, let's say if I click on this link, by default, we have this menu, which is over here, right? These menu, you can override the URLs of this menu. So for our lab purpose, demo purpose, let's replace the help URL to, let's say, VMware.com, for example. Okay. So now in previous, I mean, if by default, if you click on help, it will maybe take you to the documentation page. But now after the branding is applied to a tenant, it will take you to VMware.com page. And if in case you want to add any menu items, so let's say I want to add a link. So if I give, let's say link 1 and give any URL, I'll keep it simple. We'll give VMware.com. So I will see this new link available in the menu item.
Yeah, that's super handy for
this is very handy in case you want to have your end users go through some particular links or documentation which is specific to your organization. There it will be very, very helpful.
Yeah. And
in the same way, from the login page, if you want to add any link at the login page, let's say, for example, you can say, just say, for example, link 2. And again, I'm pointing it to VMware.com. And also in the logout page, let's say if you want to add any URL, let's say leave your feedback, for example, and I'll just point it to VMware.com for now. So these are the options you have from a link perspective, where you can override, add menu, and add links to your login and logout page. So from a UI perspective, theme configuration, these are the options we have available. And then you click save.
Ivo, can I ask a question about that? Does that have the capability in terms of the links? Are they able to be parameterized as well, just like the tenant name was?
Yes, a little bit. Could you just please open any theme, and if you go to the links here while it's loading, just to mention that the login and logout links are something new for this API. This was not available with the previous one. And you can customize the links. And if we follow the official documentation, the way what we did with the branding, with the name, there are 3 placeholders here that can be used. This is for the JWT token and for the organization name and ID, I think, so that you can customize those links a little bit per tenant and have more dynamic behavior.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. So if the service providers have got, for example, a service desk system that requires the tenant name in the URL, then they can put in the parameters here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So same one. But it's a good one to add it here so that it's more obvious for the users.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we have a lot of service providers using that already for all kinds of different things. So we had the feedback form, links to support systems, service desk systems, perhaps even some requests to consume, order more stuff, order more resources for the labs. For the login and logout pages, you could do some links to like your sales or lead management tool to create a link to create an account, or have some problems with logging in, then click here, stuff like that. That's of course a topic for a whole lot of Feature Friday episode. Think about your shared dashboards from vRealize Operations. So you could do some link in the help menu or something like that, just with the status page of your provider infrastructure, and share that or link that to a shared dashboard from operations.
That's a great idea, Jorg. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
So once you have the theme saved, you would see the theme appear on the custom portal UI. So after you have created the theme, the next action is to either make it default or assign this theme to any of the tenant or the provider portal. So what we'll do is, now we will assign this theme to one of the tenant portal. So it will by default pick up all the tenants available, and let's apply it to one of the tenants start and click save. So it will show it is used by this specific portal. Now let me log into the Starks tenant portal, and let me first log out from here. And if I navigate to Starks, if you observe one thing, we did apply some theme on the login and logout page, but I do not see that. That is because by default, the theme application for the login and logout page is not enabled by default. So for that, you have to basically run a command to override the settings. So what I'm trying to say is, you have to run a cell management tool command to
while it's reconnecting, this came as a security requirement, so that if you navigate to the landing page, you don't know which, and you cannot guess which tenant is a valid one. So if you're not concerned with this approach, then you can go and what we see, just modify this property.
So basically you have to modify this property to false, which is basically required auth for branding to false. Only after you have set this value to false is when the login and logout page would apply the branding theme customization which you have configured. So it says that the property has been set to false. So if I navigate back to the tenant portal and do a refresh, you see here, now I see the branding which we had created for this specific tenant. Now if I log in to the tenant portal, see here it says hi Stark, and the icon, the logo which Jorg was saying, which we would see everywhere. So this would be visible over here. And of course, if I bookmark this page, I would see this icon as well. And if you look now, the theme has been applied, where I see the new logo, the tenant name, the color, the font color, and the extra link which I had added over here. So if I click on the link, it will take me to whatever URL I had provided. Now, if I log out, and one more thing we had done, we had changed the link to, I think, for the help menu. It will again take me to VMware.com since we had given that URL. Now, if I log out from the tenant portal, we had also applied some links on the logout portal. Let's see how that would be available and appear on the logout screen.
In the meantime, if something you experience something that is not being reflected that you defined in the theme but doesn't show up, it's always a good idea to, well, clear your browser cache and use a new incognito window and all that stuff when you do some kind of changes on web pages.
Right.
Yeah.
So now, since I have logged out of this portal, you see it, we had given a URL, leave your feedback, and you can click on this and then give your feedback. And like Jorg was mentioning, if in case you want to give some dashboard links on the login page, like for example, if we had given this in the customized theme, you can just provide whatever links you want, and then it will redirect you to the respective page. In the same way, so this is all about creating a theme and applying it to one of the tenant portals. Now you can apply same theme to multiple customers, which is not the case basically, obviously. So what you can do is you can apply, you can create multiple themes and apply them to separate tenants. So let's say this theme I have over here, theme demo. Let me apply this to another organization or tenant, and quickly show you how. I mean, it's basically the same steps, but the main logic is that now you can apply separate theme to separate tenant and have a different look and feel. So see here, hi Lannister. This is a different theme. You have some URL, and if I sign in, you would see a altogether separate theme for that other organization. So this is something which is very much possible to apply separate theme for each organization or your tenants.
Yeah, that is something that, of course, helps in the white labeling or agency scenario where you as a provider have different agencies that actually manage the virtual machines or use the capacity and resell the capacity for the actual workloads. But it also helps, of course, just to build close relationships to your individual customers. So that is something that you might want to show to your sales teams as a provider. So if they go out and try to, make some sell the services and the capacity and want to demonstrate that, it's super powerful if they come into an end customer and present them in the demonstration, the tenant portal with the branding of the hopefully soon to be customer. That's super powerful and shows very well in any demonstration.
Right. So like this theme has multiple links. You can just create a separate theme for each customer. Now, let's look at the action items or action menu which can be performed on a theme. So if I click the action menu, you can, like I said, you can make that theme default. You can assign that theme which we have seen. You can export it, clone, or delete it. Now, to export, basically you just click export. It will download basically a zip file, and we will get into what is inside the zip file in some time. So it will basically download all the logo images and the CSS file for you, where you can further customize it if you want, like font and stuff, and then you can re-upload them. And the other option what we have here is to import. If in case you have any theme which is already available, you can import that, and it will allow you to import the theme. Make sure the import file must be a zip file. And
would the best practice here be to export a theme first, so you've got all the correct files and hierarchy, and then edit that and then import it again?
Ivo, I would let you answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I would mention here that now you can even export the default, the built-in themes, the base dark and base white. And for example, a service provider can export any of those or the two of them and just pass it to the tenants, so tenants can just see what it is there, makes modifications in terms of logos, images, links, what they want, and send this zip file back to the service provider. And the only thing that the service provider can do is just to upload this zip. So this is one of the track. And as you mentioned, this is the very, very good and one of the best practices to start with. And it's also good, the import, for example, in multi-site environment. So currently there is no quick way just to create a theme, the same theme on the other side. You can either use the API or this approach, just download the zip and upload to the other side also. And the download,
and that, of course,
with some advanced things, settings for the theming, which we can touch later if we have time.
And of course, it helps in environments where you don't have only a single large VCD environment, but rather perhaps some scenario where you use Cloud Director even on top of some private cloud offerings, so that it's not only one vCenter, but also one Cloud Director instance per tenant, for example, or you have different locations, not necessarily multi-site assigned, but individual locations, or managing Cloud Director instances in different areas for different network sections, whatever. So that's super useful, really, to have these themes available through the UI to manage, create, and change them in a very look and feel way with the great preview, but still have the possibility to have like the raw file bundles that you can edit and distribute to different other environments.
Right. Right. So from the UI perspective, the last option we have is to convert legacy themes. So what this will do, let's say, for example, if you have any theme which was created through the API in the previous version of VCD, so that would by default be listed over here if available. And then that will allow you to convert the theme, and basically it will allow you to configure the theme with the new 10.4.1 API UI theming version, and allow you to use that with 10.4.1. So this is another cool option for customers who already have some existing theme and want to convert the legacy theme to the latest version. So this is all we had from a demo perspective. So what we'll do now is
can I just, sorry, before going there, just to mention something. This convert legacy themes is what was just mentioned. We go and see if there are any modifications. Any modification means really any. If you just change the portal color or the name, then we consider this as a new theme that will be available for you to convert. And if you convert it, you can do this conversion multiple times so that you can see, delete those legacy themes, but you delete it only from this API and only the converted one. I mean, you don't touch the original base themes created through the old API. And you have also this ability through the conversion either to preserve the assignment. So if the theme has been assigned to a particular tenant, you have this option, there is a checkbox to preserve the assignment, or just to convert this theme.
Ivo, would this work for if a provider has done some fairly heavy customization of style sheets? Would this be able to handle that?
Absolutely. What we did in that case, what the system is doing, it just gets the CSS as it is and just plug it with the new one. So one can then examine, see it, but absolutely, we also try to preserve the background, which is a hatch way, because there was not an explicit property. So we take the background from the old one and apply it here to this theme. As you mentioned, the CSS is completely taken, and we also convert the property, the portal color property, into the new format.
Okay.
So it should just work. And if you have legacy themes, just convert them and click use them either by default or keep the assignment, and you should be go to continue. And those legacy themes, just one more, is they are read-only currently. If you convert a theme and you want to edit it, you can, for example, clone it. This was something that just mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a good way. Yeah, cloning is a good way to start from a theme and begin editing and create a new one.
And just to add, I did not mention, if in case you want to edit the theme again, once you have created, you click on details. It will take you back to the configuration option, and you can re-edit and save it back again.
Yeah, that's a very cool and smooth migration path from all the existing already branded or themed environments. So very cool stuff.
Yeah.
And if just a quick question, if a provider has a lot of VCD instances, I can't really think of too many providers that do, but if they do, Is there an API that they could use to distribute all of these themes to all of their instances to save them having to log in 60, 70 times maybe?
Yes, I mean, this is more like if you have multi-sites, because even if you have many instances, we just save those in the database, so they are available.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I think I was referring not to different self-servers or multi-site, but really individual instances, right?
Yeah, sorry, individual instances, yeah.
Yeah, so that is something that's absolutely possible. The cool thing, well, internally about the implementation of that, as you've seen, it shows up in the More menu in the provider portal. So it also uses all the extensibility framework that we have in Cloud Director, and therefore, well, it talks to the available VCD APIs to make all these changes. I mean, a lot of the stuff just works like in the theme generator to create a zip file, but then when the actual themes and the branding is applied to VCD, that's regular API calls that you could use or see likely even from a browser developer window, and then replicate them on a different VCD system.
Good show. Okay.
Cool. So once we have the zip downloaded, once you extract it, these are the files you would see within the specific zip file of the theme. And like we are mentioning the CSS file, this is the file which basically holds the style of what theme consists of, the color and the other font information. So Yvonne, you want to go through this file right now?
Yeah, please.
Sure. So if you open this file, this is how it looks like. And yeah, to you, Yvonne.
And here, as I have mentioned, we just saved the CSS variables which were modified. And there is this section which clearly denotes what this theme generator has been modified. If you want to add your custom CSS, it can be any, you just add it outside of this specific area. Could you just add something, anything? It outside of this, no, outside. So this is something here. Don't modify the thing that the permission. Write anything, just write even a test. Yeah, so let it be a little bit. Like, for example, .test. I mean,
I'll save it.
Okay, yeah, save it. So don't write this in your code because this is not a valid CSS.
That's not valid CSS, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, your web design team will know what to put in there for the CSS styles, different additional settings.
Mm-hmm.
Rezip it.
And you zip it, but you zip the content, not the folder itself. So if you go, this is very important. Don't miss it. The system will complain, but just zip it.
And then I think it's add to archive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Add to archive. It doesn't.
Select the format zip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll upload this.
And you import. So we have exported it. We haven't changed the name. So there is will be a change duplication. Yeah, import it.
There you go. Yeah, that's the right one.
And here's something that we also tried, not just to make it work, but to be more, and not just useful, but we want to create a delightful project. So now you can have something that, like the desktop experience. You can keep both or replace. Keep both is good. And we try to add those goodies because really it's not just to ship something, but we want to be useful. And
copy.
Open it, please. Just open to show something. And you can see at the top, under the colors, there is a custom CSS detected. Something to the left, please. About colors. This is something that was not available before because the system is modifying, is doing all the changes, so there is no need to show this. But in case you have any custom CSS, and if you have those migrated and converted old legacy themes, this will be available. So if you click on a preview, you can see the entire CSS and which is the part that belongs to the very generator and which is the custom one. So currently you cannot edit it within the browser, but at least you can see it. And as I mentioned, it's quite easy to modify it in an editor that is CSS aware. That's why we haven't incorporated all.
That's brilliant. So basically what we've done then is we bought this theming capability, although it's limited to certain things, it's now kind of fully UI orientated, nice and easy to use. But if you wanted, and if you had web development teams doing other cool stuff, you can then just import that. So it's kind of allowing for both use cases, a more advanced use case and someone who doesn't want to get involved in code.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Really nice feature, man. Really nice feature.
And with the old API, you just don't know which tenant you have really branded indeed, what are the specifics. But now with this one,
okay, what do I do, Ivo?
This is enough. But here you just have at one pane quite an easy way to see how many themes you have and which theme to which tenant is assigned. This is something also that was missing with the old API. And now with a simple glimpse, you have this information available. And we have also other things in mind to improve in terms of searching, showing, and things, but one by one.
Yeah, Eva, I can imagine if you've done this with like 50 or 100 tenants, then you're going to need a search function.
True.
Cool.
This is really cool. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing our providers experimenting with this and coming up with some cool themes, extending their CSSs if they want to, and really taking advantage of this pretty robust, it seems, facility. Great. So 10.41 it is. It's available in 10.41. Mm-hmm. There's no downloads to worry about. It's all included with the VCD setup. Just enable it and off you go, and make that one change to the style sheet, setting it to false, if I remember the default style sheet, right? You only do that once, is that correct?
Yeah, that depends. You have to enable the feature flag to enable the functionality. Then if you want to customize the login screens for these privacy reasons, you have to enable that in the VCD configuration because it's not enabled per default for privacy reasons. And then, you get the theme generator and can go from there.
Off you go, yeah.
And just one more thing that I'm thinking of, that this thing was developed outside of the main VCD source code. So this is a plugin by itself. So we can really add new functionality and you don't need to wait for a VCD update in order to have a new plugin version. And all of this was built with the new extensibility framework, which is based on runtime defined entities. This is important for customers that do their own customization, and it is much more flexible. So if you don't know more about these runtime defined entities and extensibility, just follow the Feature Fridays.
Yeah, that is on the list for one of the next Feature Friday that we are going to record likely in January.
Excellent. Yeah. So, Ivo, I mean, in the future, will this be a downloadable plugin, do you think, or will it just carry on shipping?
I cannot comment on this because there are also many marketing decisions, either pluggable or we have a store where you can see the new versions, something like that we have, and we are in a custom with our phones. But the technology now allows us to go there. And if you need some new features, just find the correct channel to approach my manager, so I will continue developing this.
Yeah, use the Slack channel to reach out for sure under the VCD Absolutely. Slack channel. All right, guys, thank you very much for today. Jay, thanks for the demo. Jorg, thanks for joining in the explanation. Ivo, thank you very much for your input. It's invaluable. And like I said, I look forward to our providers using it. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.